Is it smart to just run Google Ads on its own? No, I don't think it is. I think you're putting too much pressure on your business, on your account manager. It's like a Hail Mary, as Gene says in the US, right? You're just throwing it out there on one, hoping that you're going to land a touchdown and praying for the best.
How's it going, everybody? It's Gene Villano's here, back again with another PPC Cave episode. Today we are on episode 73, but before we get into it, I want to welcome back again our lovely co-host Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good, Gene. It's good to be back with you. I feel like every time we get together, you're welcoming me back. It's like, it's been a while. It's like, welcome back, Ryan, again, and things like that. I need to start picking up the slack, man. It's bad because you're doing a great job of keeping the content coming out of the PPC Cave.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. But this is a team effort. I appreciate your effort as well. And we're only going to get better, and only doing more episodes together, I feel like, is one of the best things that we could do for our subscribers and the people that digest our content. That's because you're getting twice the value. If it's just me or if it's just Ryan, it's just one times. But we always want to give you that 2 times value. So, but yeah, I appreciate you. Welcome back.
Appreciate you. Good to be back.
Yeah. Good to be back. And today we are talking about Google Ads as your only marketing. Smart or not? Google Ads as your only marketing, smart or not? Essentially what we're talking about is, should Google Ads be your only form of marketing and advertising? And before we get into our 4 points today, Ryan, off the top, is there anything you kind of want to just talk about in regards to this title?
We've got some great points that we're going to run through, I'm sure. But I think top level, I think it's not smart to have Google Ads as your only marketing source. You definitely need to put your eggs in many different baskets. I'm not sure what the diversify your portfolio, I guess you could say, and make sure that you're advertising across many different platforms, social, Google, even Microsoft or Bing or whatever it might be called. So we're going to get into it, but I know this is a question that Gene and I get asked quite a lot, is should we put all the money into Google? Should we look to maybe try Facebook? Should we try another platform? Or people that are just very tunnel focused, or I don't know what the tunnel vision. Yeah, where it's just like, we're only going to run Google Ads and we're not going to run anything else. And I think that's a bad idea. I've had clients in the past that only run on Google Ads, and it's not good. Let's just keep it at that. But I'll let you take the first point away, and we'll get into it.
That's a great transition. The first point is, we are PPC managers. Okay, guys, me and Ryan are PPC managers. We are not CMOs. If you want to pay a CMO salary, that's cool. But we are here as freelancers, PPC managers. And I think that leads into what Ryan discussed earlier, is we've had a lot of clients that they might not straight up tell us that they're only running on Google Ads, or their marketing and advertising is only Google Ads, but it's very, very apparent after about 5 minutes of talking to them, either on any platform that we get our leads from, or just through email or social. We get these inquiries, and you can tell that all in mindset, or just really putting the onus on saying, hey, we gotta kind of make this work, or else our whole business is not going to work. I think that is really important for us to understand. We are PPC managers. We handle only one aspect of your marketing and advertising, and that's Google Ads, or Microsoft, whatever, Facebook. But we have to really figure out, hey, there's other marketing and advertising channels for a reason. And if we develop not only Google Ads, but they synergize together. Therefore, Google Ads will only run better, more smoothly, and be more optimized. So, Ryan, do you have any, examples or thoughts of the first point? We are PPC managers, not chief marketing officers.
Yeah, to your point, I think it's really good if you, let's just say you're running on Meta or Facebook, you have Facebook ads running, and you're also running Google Ads. Well, somebody could come through a Facebook ad or a Meta ad or whatever it's called these days, and then you could potentially, if they're looking again through on Google, you could remarket them because they've already visited your website. Google will know that as well. Facebook will know. So, they fall into that remarketing funnel. Vice versa. If people come through a Google ad and they click on your website, potentially you could remarket them on Facebook. So you're following them around online, and you're improving your brand positioning, which I know we're going to kind of get into as well. But you're improving your brand positioning, you're following people around, and this is something I've been talking a lot about recently as well, where it takes roughly around 7 interactions for someone to have with a brand or a business before they actually commit to buy or commit to you with your service offering. So the more you have in terms of different platforms, Omni Channel approach, again, we're going to talk about that, but Facebook, Instagram, Google, maybe Bing ads and things like that, the more you're showing up and you're appearing in people's feeds and timelines, the better chance you have of gaining them as a customer or a client or whatever it might be. So that was, something I really wanted to kind of pinpoint on that one. But we are PPC managers. We're not CMOs. Gene and I, our expertise is in Google Ads. We have knowledge of other platforms as well. Of course we do, because we're in advertising, we're in marketing. We'd be foolish not to. But I think that to the point that Gene's making is that, we need to make sure that there is a clear understanding that this is PPC and this isn't the whole thing. You can't just come to us and say, like, save our business, and put us under that pressure, because that's not really on us. If you are not in that position to save your own business, nobody's going to come along and be able to help out, I'm afraid.
Absolutely. And the last point for this first point is, being a CMO is a really intricate but very, I guess, confusing thing for someone to just put all on you, like a PPC manager, and it's like if someone is asking you to just carry the whole business, the whole marketing strategy on your back, and that's a lot of pressure. And a lot of the times, if you have a client or someone speaking to you in that way, you're not going to want them as a client. And we're reversing the role here. We're looking out for people that are working within Google Ads, and you might be a freelancer, agency, in-house, whatever it may be. But when you start noticing that whoever you're working for, whoever's name is on the Google Ads account, when they keep coming to you and saying, hey, where are we at with here? Where are we at with there? And then you just say, well, ask them a question. Is this the only marketing channel you have? I always ask that to clients, or like for a client, like when we're on onboarding, we're like, are you doing any other PPC? And if they say no, usually it's they're dipping their toe within Google Ads, and that's not a bad or good thing. But just, I'm saying, beware. If they're only doing Google Ads, they're not doing Meta, they're not doing TikTok, they're not doing anything else. They're probably going to be writing you pretty hard. They're probably going to be checking in with you, and you're probably not going to have a good experience of freelancing. So that's just, a little sidebar. Any final thoughts on this before we move on to the next point, Ryan?
Yeah, I think to Gene's point again, you have to be slightly careful on how you frame things and mention things to clients. If you're in-house, if you're agency side, those are two different things. If you're agency side, and you're a digital marketing specialist, expert, assistant, executive, whatever you might be, you may have a boss, you may have a line manager, you may just have a boss like I did. And, if you're just saying, is this the only thing you're running? It could come across quite rude, and you may not be well informed, right? So normally, if you're agency side, you should have a better idea of, what channels they're running and things like that. And, I would say that's more to the boss to have that conversation with the client rather than you. If you're in-house, then you've got to report to your boss. So if you turn around and you're just like boss man, is this the only thing we're running? Like, come on. Then again, that could get you fired or get you the sack. So just be careful about how you phrase things and how you do it. But then again, if you are a freelancer, then you have every right to kind of get the information you need up front before you fully invest in a project. If this is their only sole focus and you're their last hope, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Princess Leia, like, you're my last chance, Obi-Wan, or whatever, then that's a lot of pressure. And no wonder Obi-Wan just kind of gave in the end. And, well, I'm actually not going to ruin it for people if you haven't seen Star Wars.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, exactly. I should have said something there. But the point I'm making, if you haven't seen it, like, come on. I mean, that was out like 50 years ago or something. So
Yeah.
go watch it. It's a great film. But the point I'm trying to make is, it's a hell of a lot of pressure to put a PPC person under, just to say you are the number one reason we are going to get sales and leads this month. If it doesn't work out with you, we are screwed as a business. So you really do need to diversify.
Absolutely. And one last point. Sorry, we keep like one-upping each other with the points. But one last point from the other side again, from if you're a freelancer or even in-house or whatever, because this is breakdown a little bit that Ryan had a lot of agency experience. I had a lot of in-house. If you do learn, you start with Google Ads as the only digital marketing or advertising platform. But if you do learn the others to supplement digital marketing strategy, such as social media, email marketing, begin checkout, add to cart, incentives for your e-commerce clients or whatever, or customers, SEO, your Google Ads will only get better. So take that, with a grain of salt, that despite of people asking you, I'm primarily talking about freelancers, we are not CMOs, we are PPC managers, but if you're in-house, or if you really want to be that full stack digital marketing strategist, it won't hurt for you to learn the others and just at least have a background to it, because it can help your Google Ads for sure. So,
one more point on that as
yes.
well.
Are you really?
No, I'm
kidding.
joking.
Okay.
Have you seen Bridesmaids? Like, and there's a section in it where she's just like keeps like just trying to keep wanting up each other on like the bride speech.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yep.
When
I
you said
remember.
that, I was like, went straight to that. I'm in a film
That was good.
mindset tonight for some reason. Anyway,
That was good. Okay, next, all in. So this is a little bit of a piggyback, but we have more points underneath this. All in mindset pressure. I think that is essentially what we're talking about in the first point. But with the all in mindset pressure, I think it's really important for us to understand that Google Ads is a long term thing. It is a long term thing. We always ask for about 3 months to find that traction, but if you can have them stay for 6 months, a year, I think you'll really learn a lot with how to navigate more of an account that's less short term but more long term. And when you consider all in mindset pressure, time is the biggest factor to that. I need XYZ conversions by XYZ date. I need ROAS to be at this point, cost per conversion, all that stuff by this date. When we're putting a time frame of when exactly we need to create 100 conversions or be at this ROAS or be at this cost per conversion, you're essentially trying to dictate demand capture. Okay. Demand capture is what it is. It's demand. We are not, we cannot create the demand with Google Ads, and we'll get into that later. So I think it's really understanding that this all in mindset, all in, I need this return on ad spend, cost per conversion at this time, that's really, really going to cripple not only your relationship with that client or their relationship with you, but just the experience of how Google Ads works altogether, because that's not how it works. Yes, we have a little bit of a threshold of 3 months, but the longer that they're willing to learn that we are bringing in the correct traffic for a conversion, then the better off the experience will be for both parties. What do you think about that second point, Ryan?
It's really funny because you sound like you're on like your last legs of like, please just understand, like,
please.
All in my, like, understand that we can't do. No, you've got a good point, and we're not like being, what's the word, just ridiculous here. We understand that as a business, you have goals, you have KPIs that you want to hit and meet. You may say, well, we need to hit this return on ad spend target to keep our margins intact, or to make sure we're turning a profit. We need this CPA to be at this budget, at this level, so that we're making sure that we're still profitable long term. And we get that, we understand. But if you say, like, I hate to call people out, and I'm not going to, I don't know the guy's name anyway, but I got
Do
an
it.
inquiry come through the other day. Yeah, do it. I got an inquiry come through the other day, and the guy was, what did he say? I need you to manage my Google Ads. We've just launched or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool. Tell me about a bit more about your website, your business, and things like that. Are you getting any sales at the moment through SEO or social
Mhm.
or even Google Ads? And he was
Mhm.
like, no. We've been running for like 3 or 4 months. We've had like a couple of sales here and there, but we want to run Google Ads with you, and we want to get $60,000 profit in like the first 3 months. And
Mhm.
Gene is looking flabbergasted right there,
It's
which he should
crazy.
be, because it is crazy. So I just kind of, I mean, it sounds bad. I laughed to myself and I was just like, yeah, jog on. I'm not like, you're coming to me. I've asked you a critical question there. Is your business succeeding online? Are you actually, is proofing the pudding? Are you getting any results? The guy was like, no, but you're going to get me the results, and I want to get $60,000 in the first 3 months. If you've been running your business for 3 or 4 months and you've only had a couple of sales, what am I going to change at that point? If you're already running Google Ads, what am I going to come
Mhm.
in and change? I'm not like a magician. Yeah, I have like best practices, and I understand that. Maybe I know a few things here or there about Google Ads, and I can take you to that next level. But let's be realistic. If he came to me and said, you know what, we're doing 20,000 a month at the moment. We kind of want to get up to 40,000, but we've got good traction. We're getting to 500% return on our ad spend, which is really good. We're getting about 30 to 40 sales per month. We ideally want to be about 60. Can you help? Absolutely. That shows me you're already serious about Google Ads, that you have that, you're already performing really well. And it's just, you just need a couple of things. You need someone like me to come in just to kind of, take you to that next level. I can do that. But when you're saying, hey, my business isn't successful, you need to save me. I want 60 grand in the first 3 months. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but it's almost laughable. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that all in mindset pressure is real. People have outlandish expectations sometimes. I don't know. Is it our job to bring them back down to earth and put things into a bit of perspective and realism? I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
it's give and take. We understand you've got KPIs to hit, and that you want to see a good return and things like that. But at the same time, let's be realistic about what those expectations are.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's a great second point. But
Thank
moving
you.
on to the third point, I don't have anything to add to that one. But Omni Channel. Yeah, we're moving on. Omni Channel. This is as we continue on, it's 2025, with search and just how the internet works. I think there's rarely, if you're shopping, let's just consider e-commerce, right? If you're shopping for things, I'm not just getting on Google and searching and then buying. That's not how I shop. I want to see if it's a sneaker. I want to see if there's reviews. I'm going to get on TikTok. I'm the guy that gets on TikTok and goes XYZ clothing review, sizing review. I want to see how it fits. I'm 5'7" on a good day. If I see that it's gonna make me look like a sack of potatoes on someone that's my height, I'm not gonna buy it. Even if you're ranking number one on Google or Google Ads, I don't care. I'm not gonna buy it. So my point is, search has evolved into an omni-channel approach so that searchers can vet or be researching or find more credibility within other social media platforms aside from just google.com, right? So the more that you have this stack of omni-channel approach of your advertising, marketing, and branding, the better it's going to be for your Google Ads by default, just because you've already, not put all your eggs in one basket and you're everywhere that a searcher can search you for. For me, one of the biggest ways that I even vet a client is, one, I go to their website, and two, I see if they have social media. Like, what are people saying about your product? do you even have a social media account? And that tells me how invested a client could be, or just how established you are. Granted, that's not always the case, but that's always something that that's my phone. That's always something that I do nowadays, is just make sure that I'm looking on all the different channels, not just Google Ads. Any thoughts on this one, Ryan?
I thought that was your dog barking. I didn't realize it was your phone. I don't know what your
It's my work phone.
ringtone is. There's two things here. There's I think for me it's what Gene is saying is social proof, and there's a new element of that I'll get into, as well as other channels. So social proof, Gene is saying obviously social channels, like do you have a Facebook account? Do you have maybe Instagram, maybe TikTok, and things like that. Wherever your market is, are you there like showcasing your products to them or your business or whatever it might be? I get that. For me, if I'm buying a product, one of the first things I'll do is, if it's not Amazon, if it's not eBay or a well-known marketplace, I'll go onto Google and I'll just type in the brand reviews. So it could just be like Tempest 59 reviews, or it could be things like Tempest 59 Trustpilot, or whatever it might be. I want to see what other people are saying about the product. I want to make sure it's legit. Just like you would on Amazon, you'd take a look at the reviews first. And we are in that kind of review buyer mentality these days, where we want to see what other people are saying about this product to inform our own decision making, essentially. If products look really good, if they're rated really highly, we'll probably buy the product. If you get like a 2.5 star or 10 people, you're probably not going to buy it. So making sure that you have reviews lined up is really, really key. The other side of it is, what Gene is saying as well, making sure that you're advertising on different channels, and not even just advertising, but just showing up. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I keep saying it, but, following people around the internet is going to help you convert them better over the long term, rather than just say, hey, we're just running Google Ads and we're just going to get cold traffic. You need to warm that traffic up. You need to say, hey, here, get like 10, 20% off your first offer. And then your first order, and then you come back and you say, right, thank you for your first order. Here's another 25%, or here's 50% discount on your second order to lock that second sale in. Or, hey, we'll send you a free gift with your first order. I just bought a new monitor, or like a travel monitor, you could say, off TikTok. Well, it wasn't off TikTok. The brand is on TikTok. I bought from them directly. They went viral. They had a lot of issues. It's such a great monitor, though, by the way. I love it. But the problem is they weren't expecting to get that busy. So they were like, oh, I'm sorry for delays, things like that. As a thank you, we're going to send, for your patience, we're going to send out some free tempered glass for your monitors. So things like that go a long way. If you're in the service niche, again, it's just making sure that you have like Google My Business set up, that you've got some really good reviews for Google. Maybe you're showing on a map listing if you're more local based businesses, maybe even being in some sort of like directories and associations. That's really, really big. I think there's the one in the US. I always forget it. Better Business Bureau or something.
There you
BBB.
go. Yep.
Is that it?
BBB.
Did I get it
That's
right?
it. You got it. You got
Oh
it
my
right.
God, I can't believe that.
Good work.
Thank you. Yeah. So things like that, just making sure you're accredited, that you have certifications, that you're insured, whatever you do, you've got the stuff to back it up to say, you know what, I'm legit, rather than just launching a business. And I've seen some terrible websites like that look from the early noughties that just have no social proof, that you can't even contact the people. They're like, hey, yeah, we're like a waste management company, like a junk removal company or whatever it might be, or, we're like a water power washing company, but you can't contact the guy. He doesn't have a phone number on the website. It's like a really dodgy like AOL email address or a Gmail. It's like, you want something that's a little bit more legit, like info@waterpressurecompany.com or .co.uk or whatever. So just showing up and making sure you have that social presence is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. And the opposite of this is, maybe someone will ask, well, Gene, we only do Google Ads. We're not Omni Channel. We're focusing our advertising and marketing on one place, but it's doing great for us. And my answer to that is you really have to understand short term versus long term. If you're driving a business, you have to understand that really sharp spikes in your business is a pitfall, a blind spot that you're not going to understand until 2, 3, 5, 10 years later. I think growing a business slow and steady and understanding that there will be vulnerabilities just because business is a dynamic playing field can really help you become more cautious with remaining omni-channel, as Ryan's saying, even showing up and having proof on these other channels and not just solely focusing all the budget, all the time, all the energy, resources on only Google Ads, just because Google Ads can spike revenue quickly, but can leave you super vulnerable to higher cost per click. As we know, advertising costs are only increasing. There might be a platform change. There might be some type of privacy issue that now we don't have that much transparency with who's actually able to see the ads or who we can target. The risk stack is just too big to be over dependent on only one platform, such as Google Ads, and you're not creating brand equity outside of paid clicks. That's just like saying, I get a lot of sales because we have, flash sales. Well, then no one wants to buy your product regular price. Is that really a business? Is that the type of business that you want to, run? There's a lot of algorithm updates, policy changes that could just wipe out these campaigns overnight, and even seasonal slowdowns. If you don't have backup traffic sources, you're going to put yourself in a world of hurt, so understand we're trying to lead y'all to an omni-channel approach despite of us being PPC managers and Google Ads people. And you should actually thank us. You know, our credibility, because a lot of people will be like, oh, dude, you have 5,000 in Google Ads. I'll take that. A lot of people will be salivating. The wrong PPC managers will be salivating over you being so naive, that you're putting all your eggs in one basket. But little do you know that they understand it's not going to work. Just because you have to be all omni-channel. Yeah, it'll work sometimes, but the longevity of it is omni-channel. So any last thoughts as moving forward, Ryan, for the next point?
No comment. I think you you summed it up really nicely. So I can just get on to the next topic if you'd like.
Yeah, we can get on the next topic. Before we get on the next topic, Ryan, do you want to explain to them a little bit of
Yeah.
our new sponsor?
Have you heard what the news on the street is? What the word on the street is?
I'm not sure. Maybe enlighten me and our listeners.
So the word on the street is that Gene and Ryan at the PPC Cave are partnering with Opteo. And for our subscribers, for you guys who are listening in or watching us on YouTube right now, you guys can get an extended trial with Opteo. So normally it's a 14-day trial that you get. Really, really boring. We don't want that. So we thought, you know what? How can we give more value to our subscribers, to our viewers, to our listeners? Well, we reached out to Opteo. We said, look what we're doing in the marketing space. We think we're pretty hot at the moment, and we want to partner with you. And they were like, we'll take you aboard. So we're really happy with that. And they said, you know what, we'll give you a 28-day free trial. So you get pretty much double the amount of time to test Opteo. What is Opteo? Opteo is a software for Google Ads account managers, even business owners. If you don't really know the ins and outs of Google Ads, you could just log into Opteo every day, spend half an hour to an hour, cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever your choice is, and just go through some of the recommendations that Opteo have. They kick them out every single day. I think there's they're constantly analyzing. I think there's tens of thousands of things that they look at every single day inside the Google Ads account. And they give you feedback and suggestions saying, hey, you spent, $500 on this keyword. You've not generated any conversions. Maybe you want to pause that. Or, hey, this is a really good keyword. Maybe you want to double down on that, add it as a phrase match keyword, as it as an exact match keyword, things like that. So Opteo is a hub where you log into. It gives you all this information and more. And at a single button click, you can apply these recommendations. Really, really easy to use. Really, really great. Just a seamless piece of kit. really. And like I said, for our subscribers, we're giving you a 28-day free trial to use it. So make use of it. Give it a go. See how you get on. See how easy it is to manage your clients through Opteo. To make use of that, we'll put it in the description in the YouTube video, and I think in Spotify. I always get those two mixed up, but it's opteo.com. So opteo.com/the PPC Cave to get your 28-day free trial of Opteo. So give it a whirl and let us know what you think.
Beautifully done. And to add on to that, we do have a special guest next time, and from Opteo that will be coming, and we'll just save that as a little teaser, out there, just to throw that out. We don't need to say more than that. But okay, final point is Google Ads as your only marketing, smart or not episode. The final point that we have is understanding demand capture versus positioning your brand to create demand. And we say, before we get into this, we say all of these things because we're trying to lead people to the water. But they say you can only lead a horse to water. You cannot make them drink. So if you take all of these points in aggregate and sum it up, Gene, Ryan, what are you really trying to say? All we're doing here is for the clients, business owners, people that maybe want to work with us in the future, or you have some type of curiosity with Google Ads. You've been following us because you're an account manager. We're trying to give y'all the lay of the land of how to be successful on Google Ads. And as counterintuitive as it may sound, it's not making Google Ads your only marketing and advertising channel. And it starts with understanding that PPC is a demand capture game. Okay. We cannot create more demand with PPC, with Meta, with Bing, Microsoft. We cannot. We are just simply capturing the demand, capturing that search. And that's what we're doing. So you have to understand there is more to this, right? You have to be able to position your brand to create demand. How do you do that? We'll talk to you about that here after. But yeah, quick thoughts, Ryan, or not quick thought, but your thoughts on this point, Ryan, before I get into the other.
Yeah, I think the point I really wanted to hammer home is that Google Ads, business owners and clients and the people that we work with who own businesses and run Google Ads, they think Google Ads generates conversions, that generates conversion value, generates, a return and things like that. And whilst it can, that's not what Google Ads is meant for. If we look at what Google Ads does, it's an auction process. You write ad copy, you bid on keywords that are relevant to your business, your brand, whatever it might be, and we bid on those, and we go into an auction, a real-time auction. Every time somebody performs a search on Google, it's an auction, and whoever comes out as the top one gets the win of the bid. They win that kind of auction process. They advertise top, the number one, number two, three, four, and things like that. So that's the process of Google Ads. It is a live auction, and we are bidding on keywords, and our ads show when we win. We don't win every single search, but we win some of them. And if you've got a big enough budget, you'll win most of them, which is really good. It's getting more and more competitive every single day, every single month, every single year. And like Gene alluded to before, cost per click prices are increasing. But the point is, it's pay per click. It's not pay per conversion, which means once they click on our ad or your ad or whatever it might be, they land on the website. They land on the landing page, and after that, it's on you, the business owner, the brand. Do you have an offer there that people like? Is it a high value offer? Are people attracted to your offer? Are people attracted to your service, your product, whatever it might be? If it's a run-of-the-mill product like, we sell kitchen knives, well, you could buy those on Amazon. You could buy those at Walmart, Asda, or anywhere in the US, UK. It's, why should I go to a specific drop seller website, import them from China, when I could just drive down 2 minutes down the street and, go to a hardware store or, kitchen store or whatever it might be, and get some knives. The point I'm trying to make is once they land on your website, is the product or the offer attractive enough for you to for the user to purchase or to get in. Like, what am I trying to say, Gene? Help me out here. I'm like, get an inquiry, right? And
Yep, yep.
it's also about speed of service. It's also about your reviews. It's also about your social proof, which we mentioned before. There's all these different things that happen post click, after the click, that are out of our hands as Google Ads account managers, as PPC account managers. It comes then onto the brand, the business. Do you have something people want? Do you have demand? And if you do, then you've got a market there. If you don't, then you're just shouting into an empty void. So we have to bring it back home. Like, Google Ads is just generating traffic and clicks to your website. After that, it's on you. Speed of service, offer, brand, reputation, all those things. So we can't guarantee conversions. We can't guarantee conversion value. We can guarantee you clicks because we can do that through the ad copy, through negative keywords and cleaning up any wasted ad spend. But conversions come through you at the end of the day. What do you think about that? You think that's fair?
Yeah. Yeah, very fair. And this is just us giving y'all beyond the in Google Ads account knowledge and experience that we have, because this is something that not only we should be aware of, as a Google Ads PPC manager, but as a business owner or someone that is maybe looking to use Google Ads. These need to go hand in hand, right? As we mentioned, and as Ryan mentioned, demand capture is very different than positioning your brand to create demand, just because once they get to the website, it's not our job for them to convert. You have to have everything in play, such as Ryan mentioned, reputation, speed of service. What is your service? Your credibility, all of those things, so that the smooth transition of traffic, demand capture, becomes a conversion. So understanding that, I think, is super paramount. It's almost like hunting versus farming. Hunting is demand capture. What's for tonight's dinner? It's something that's already established. We are just trying to capture the traffic. It's already there. But creating demand is more like farming. It's, slow at first, but eventually, it could feed you for a good while. So just understand the difference between that. And I think you'll be good with being able to let these potential clients, or even your boss, or, in a nice way, understanding, hey, I see some gaps here. I know we want to make Google Ads work, but we have to make sure that there is something to be positioned first for us to even catch or capture the demand that comes with Google Ads. Any final thoughts, Ryan, before we wrap it up?
No, I think when we come to answering that question, I don't know if I'm still here. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm seeing here it's saying trying to reconnect. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening?
No, you're
The
perfect.
point is I think when it comes to answering that question, is it smart to just run Google Ads on its own? No, I don't think it is. I think you're putting too much pressure on your business, on your account manager, too many eggs in one basket, and you really do need to diversify and go on many different platforms. So I think that's the main thing that we need to take away from that is diversification for a business. Omni channel approach is good, is healthy, if anything, for a business. Otherwise, it's like a Hail Mary, as Gene says in the US, right? You're just throwing it out there on one, hoping that you're going to land a touchdown and praying for the best. But, yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
no,
lost
it
my train of
does.
thought towards the end, but I think that the point is that you need an omni-channel approach for sure.
Yep. Omni-channel approach. We're PPC managers, not CMOs. Understand that the all-in mindset, the pressure of that, is not good relationship between the freelancer and the actual client. As Ryan mentioned, omni-channel approach. That's just how search is nowadays. It's gonna take place not just on Google. And lastly, is understand that demand capture is different from actually positioning your brand to create demand, because demand capture is Google Ads, and the other is branding and everything else that goes into creating an actual organization or offering. So, yeah, I think this was a good episode. Hopefully you guys follow what we're trying to, you guys are picking up what we're putting down here. Again, in the description in our YouTube videos, take a look at the new sponsor, Opteo. That's something that we're really, really excited about. And we will continue to always release on Mondays, 12 a.m. Mountain Time on Spotify Video, YouTube. And yeah, we're doing a lot of different new things. And I think we're just super excited. Ryan, where can they find you if they want to work directly with you?
You can find me at ryanfentonppc.co.uk. And just before I hand it back over to Gene, next week's episode is going to be a good one. I can feel it already. And if you are interested, just as a little side footnote here, if you are interested in learning more about Opteo and what it can bring to the table for your agency, for your freelancing business, whatever it might be, tune in to next week's episode. Make sure you visit the PPC Cave and have a listen in, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Just take a look at that episode. We're going to get a jam-packed episode, I think, of technical talk, of beginner talk when it comes to Opteo. We're going to just get into all the nuts and bolts and the bells and the whistles that it has to offer. So if you are interested in trialing it, then make sure you listen to next week's episode. I think we're going to really get into it. Gene, where can people find you?
Yep, tempest59.com. And yeah, I think that's really going to give our viewers and the people that digest our content, a little bit of a preview next week. It will be a good one, as Ryan mentioned. But it's always a pleasure. If you guys have any questions or comments, comment on our social media or on our YouTube. You could always email us at theppccave@gmail.com. And if there's nothing else, bye for now.